Hello, race fans. Welcome to the first episode ever of John Patrick Barkley's Formula Racing Kid. John Patrick Barkley, also known as JP, is an 11-year-old boy who lives in New Jersey, but he has been a Formula One racing fan as long as he can remember. And he has come to love all kinds of different Formula racing series as well as sports car and GT and endurance racing. He loves Formula E, Formula One, IndyCar, Indy Lights, GP2, you name it. The kid loves it. So what he wants to do is make a show that's fun for kids who care about Formula racing, and he wants people to comment on his stuff and what they think and give their opinions. And I'm sure as he becomes a rich and famous sportscaster from his Formula Racing Kid series, that we'll get better camera equipment. But for now, we're using his iPad and we're shooting in his room. And it might always stay like this, which is fun, and who knows. All right, John Patrick, take one, Formula Racing show, go.
Well, first today, we're going to talk about the big thing that everyone's wondering about, at least if you're wondering about Formula One today. Big thing is about Nico Rosberg versus Lewis Hamilton title fight. Now, this is like the third time in a row that they're fighting at the Mercedes, and that garage is very tight now. So since these cars have been, well, great the last couple of years, now they're finally growing into being used to having all these titles. And so now, after the Mexican GP, there's only 2 races left. And now this title fight is really getting underway because Rosberg is only up on Hamilton by 19 points. And if Rosberg can't finish and Lewis Hamilton wins, Hamilton's in the lead. And then he could just take the championship once again from Rosberg's clutches, as he's done in 2014 too. And so Rosberg really wants to win his first title. And Rosberg has never won a title before, and he'll be really pumped to win this. But the last couple of years, horrible DNFs really crushed Rosberg's spirit and allowed Hamilton just drive on and win. And so this Mexican GP, Hamilton, that's his second win in a row. Also from Austin, he won. And so now Hamilton is really in high gear. But all Rosberg needs to do is keep his head down, keep driving as hard as he possibly can. Because he can just finish second the rest of these 2 races and still be in the lead by 2 points by the end of the season.
Yep. And
we know at these 2 tracks, Rosberg has always dominated here. And so this may be the end of Lewis Hamilton's regime as the title holder for these past 2 years.
Yeah. So who do you think is right now going into the last 2 races, John Patrick, who do you think is the better driver?
Well,
I should say, who do you think is the hotter driver?
Well, right now, the person who's obviously hotter is Lewis Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton has had the past 2 races under his belt, and the only reason he wasn't able to win Malaysia was because his engine blew up, literally. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, if Hamilton keeps going like this and Rosberg just has a couple bad races, this could easily be Hamilton's another title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think Rosberg has to do to win this thing?
Rosberg, all he has to do is just keep his head down, do what he has to do, and what he has to do is literally just finish in second place. All it has to be is Rosberg just keeping his head down, doing whatever he can to just finish as high as he possibly can. I mean, that's the way every race should be for anyone, even someone like Marcus Ericsson at Sauber. Just try to finish as high as you possibly can, and yeah.
Yep. Okay. What do you want to talk? What else do you want to talk about? Are you done? Do you want to talk anything more about Lewis or Nico, or do you think?
I think we've covered basically everything on the Nico versus Lewis Hamilton title fight for 2016.
Awesome.
Next will be Mexican Grand Prix race discussion. The 2 big things things obviously are the Max Verstappen corner cut and Vettel being upset at all the marshals. And so what Verstappen did, I don't think it's very fair to give him that penalty, seeing that Rosberg did the same thing to him and Lewis Hamilton doing the same thing before. I mean, almost exactly the same thing. Exact same place, exact same thing, except, like, locked up on the front tire and just went straight on, just didn't care.
Who did Hamilton do that with?
Hamilton basically did it to the entire pack because multiple people were catching up to Hamilton at the start of that first turn, but Hamilton gained a huge advantage
on that move.
Yeah.
So do you think he shouldn't? So what you're saying is he shouldn't have got penalized because the others didn't get penalized?
Exactly.
Okay. You're not saying he didn't do it. You're just saying they didn't apply the rules fairly in your view?
Yeah, in my view, for all those all of them should have gotten penalties. But I'm saying if those two guys got penalties, what makes Verstappen any different apart from the fact that he's like 10 years old, younger than them?
He's 10 years old?
I'm younger than them.
He's your age? He's giving you hope?
Yeah.
Are you thinking if Max can do it, everybody can do it?
Well, he kind of came into sport at 17 years old.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he didn't do it because he made it blatant. I mean, he literally cut halfway across the corner. So.
What do you think about him not giving up the spot?
Well, FIA never said you have to give up that spot in the mid race. So he shouldn't have given up that spot if the FIA didn't tell him to give up that spot. But maybe it would have been a good strategy call to blow FIA away, slow down, let Vettel pass, and then just the second Vettel gets in front of him, just speed up and overtake him right as that happens.
Yeah.
That could have been a good move. But ultimately, we can't change the past. Verstappen was literally on the podium. They took him off.
Yep.
Now, here's about Vettel on what Verstappen did. He was yelling he's become kind of in misery ever since he couldn't get that 5th title. I think because he didn't whine all the time when he was young at like Sauber and Toro Rosso, because he wasn't used to winning titles yet.
Yes.
He hadn't won his first title yet, but after he wins those 4 titles in a row, he's suddenly up at the top. And then once he gets delegated down to, like, in his view, last, because he just can't win. And so I think that's why he's become kind of a whiner. But that's no excuse for, like, yelling at all the stewards, saying bad words, and just being rude altogether. That's just not very good. It's, in Max Verstappen's words, childish.
All right. So what else do you want to talk about? Do you want us to talk more about Vettel? What do you think? Is Vettel going to snap out of this? You think he's going to, if he starts to win a little bit, he'll snap out of this? Or you think he's going to keep moaning? Or what's your view on all that?
Well, I say if he starts winning again, he'll be like, wow, he seems like the cheeriest guy ever. And Ferrari may step ahead of Mercedes, even though all the Mercedes power units have been the fastest over the last couple of years. Now we get to talk about the driver market.
Yep.
So, as we know, Hülkenberg has decided to go with Renault next year. He was always wanted to go with a factory team, and finally all his dreams have come true.
Do you think he deserves it?
Yes, he does definitely deserve it. He's a great driver, and he's one of the best on the grid. He's just never been able to have that amazing car to push him to the top. And with Renault saying all their upgrades for next year, Renault may very well be at the top. Not necessarily fighting Mercedes or Red Bull, but they may be fighting some of the midfield teams like Williams.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the Jenson Button, not retirement, but him going
to be like an ambassador for McLaren?
Yeah, what do you think about all that?
Well, Jenson doesn't say retire. He's kind of never say die person. I'm the guy that runs marathons. So what he's going to do he's going to stay as the reserve driver. But I think Ron Dennis is actually doing something smart, because Alonso says if the driving is harder and if he can get up the grid faster, he says that he'll stay at McLaren because Alonso's deal ends up at 2017. And so Alonso probably is going to retire from Formula One. I mean, Alonso said multiple times, I'm happy if I just retire from the sport, double champion. Some drivers never even win a race in their career. And so he should be happy being double champion. But I think he'd still be sad not winning another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
a lot yet to be seen, right?
Yeah.
So how do you, so this is the first episode, so I ask you some questions, and we're just getting you your first episode, but how do you want your show to go? Do you want people to send you questions on your email when you post this, and people send you questions, and that helps, and then you try to help formulate your show from your audience's questions? Do you want people to send you stuff to talk about?
Yeah, that'd be cool. It's good to get the fans into it like me. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a diehard fan for Formula One, IndyCar, and all those other racing series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always great to have the fans into it.
Are you going to talk about other racing series, like besides?
Yeah.
Formula One's happening now, and obviously Formula E's happening next month, their second race. So you're going to probably talk about that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Formula E.
And what else? And then what else are you going to talk about? You're going to talk about other racing series?
Yeah, like IndyCar, and I may talk about junior racing, because in the junior racing, like Formula 2, Formula 3, or GP2, all those race series, all those drivers, whoever wins championship, for instance, they could be the next driver in a line of the next generation of anything.
Yep.
And yeah.
So you want to try to find that talent early?
Yes.
You want to help point that out?
Yeah.
Cool. So we're gonna post this, and then are you gonna work on your show? Like, are you gonna start to come up with a format and let people know what that is as your show evolves?
Yeah.
Cool. And do you want to tell the fans who your favorite drivers are, or do you want to keep that a secret?
I want to keep that a secret.
Well, they're probably going to know somewhat. I mean, you've got Ferrari up here, so obviously you have a couple Ferrari cars, so you like Ferrari.
Yes.
You've got McLaren, you've got Lotus. I guess you're just a Formula One fan, period, huh?
Yes.
Yeah? You just like them all?
Multiple drivers.
You like multiple drivers. So are you going to try to be balanced?
Yeah.
You're just going to call it like you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Not try to be too biased?
Not too biased.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very cool. Well, how do you think your first conversation went?
I think it went pretty well.
So if you get an audience, are you going to keep doing this?
Definitely.
Awesome. Hey, what do you think about the fact that there's a lot of people think nobody cares about Formula One in the States? What do you have to say to them?
Do you know who Haas is?
Exactly. So are you going to change that view that people and kids don't care about Formula One in the States?
Yeah.
Do you want to try to bring more fans to Formula One in the States? Is that some of your goal?
Yeah, that's one of my goals. Then
what's your sign-off slogan? Do you have one yet, or are you going to try to come up with one for your next episode?
I'll come up with one next episode.
Awesome.
For this, I'll just say, do the usual thing. Bye.
I think your mom's calling you for dinner, so
yes.
That probably is gonna, end it anyhow. So
cap it off.
All right, very good.
Well, thank you
You're
for watching.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.